So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وَبِهِ نَسْتَعِينَ. Alhamdulillah. So we find ourselves in front of the masjid here, which is known as the Awal Masjid, meaning the first mosque. Okay, masjid yang pertama. In bahasa Melayu, yes, masjid yang pertama, the first mosque. And this mosque was established by Tuan Guru Imam Abdullah bin Qadi Abdul Salam, and this mosque is the first mosque in South Africa that was established for the purposes of congregation. So Tuan Guru, when he was brought to the Cape, when he was sent into exile by the Dutch colonialists, what happened was that after he was freed from Robben Island, he moved to the mainland. And at the time, Islam wasn't allowed to be practiced in public. So what happened was that the people who were brought here and enslaved, they were practicing Islam, but in the privacy of their homes and in their gatherings. But it wasn't allowed to be practiced in the open. And so Tuan Guru saw the need, and I will explain this now. He saw the need for the establishment of a mosque. Now, we must understand where Tuan Guru came from. He came from the island of Tidore, where Islam was already practiced for hundreds of years, and where we find that the island, there were so many mosques there. Even now, if one travels to the island of Tidore and you travel from the harbor to the main village of Suasio, and I've tried to do this once while I was traveling there, and I started counting the mosque on my one side as we were traveling towards the main village, and I counted, and I kid you not, in a stretch of, could it have been maybe 25 kilometers or so, I counted almost, if there weren't more, but almost 100 mosques on the one side of the road. And so when we think about it, really, this is where Tuan Guru came from. And he found himself here at the Cape, at the place which he describes as Darul La'ana, an accursed place. But what we also shouldn't take from this is where he is lamenting his situation and circumstances. But the only thing that I can think of is he is thinking of where he came from, a place which was where Islam was fully established, a place where you could find mosques all over the show. And he comes here and he sees, and he has nothing that he can identify Islam with. And so we see whereby this place used to belong to Sarki van der Kaap. But she bought this place from her mom, Trein van der Kaap, who was married to the Corridon of Ceylon. She purchased this place from her mom. And they purchased both these places, these properties. The one was a warehouse, and the other one was the one where they resided in, the Corridon and Trein van der Kaap. But this place was purchased by Sarki van der Kaap. And Sarki van der Kaap, and this is really difficult for me to understand. Newly coming out of slavery, she takes this property and she sees it as waqf to Tuan Guru, so that he could establish this mosque here. It's difficult, especially if we were caught up in the Western way of doing things, of being in possession of things, of being in possession of property, and in this case, a lady whose mother was still a slave at the time, whose father Ahmad from whose husband was still a slave, Imam Ahmad from Bangladesh, because Sarki van der Kaap was married to Imam Ahmad from Bangladesh. So they come out of this this slavery, this situation of slavery. But she still finds it in herself to hand over this property to Imam Abdullah bin Qadi Abdul Salam to establish this mosque here. And we look at this, had to be a real wonderful, dynamic person, this Sa'chi van der Kap. And I think this is where the youth, they must take this up and researching further on this phenomenal person, Sa'chi van der Kap. She handed this to Tuan Guru, and in 1794 we find where this became a mosque. This became a place where people could come and congregate, and this is the first place that people could utilize as a place of congregation, as a place where they could have the weekly sermons, because before this it wasn't allowed. But when Guru, even against the orders of the Dutch authority at the time, he already performed the Jummah in the quarry, as history tells us. So this was established then as part of institutionalizing Islam in this part of the world. Awal Mosque, masjid yang pertama